It's Carabao Cup time as Chelsea welcome Barrow, who sits 60-odd places below us, to Stamford Bridge in what is our first round, but I think it's actually the third round proper of the League Cup competition. Obviously, we are no stranger to the Carabao Cup. Over the last couple of seasons, I think we've got to the final, but the year before that, we went out in the first round as well. So it's either sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe you know the rest. Before we begin, please do like the video, subscribe, hit the bell notification to be notified of any future content on the channel. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, it's end o'clock. I got there in the end. Please do, again, very close. We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers, so it would mean a lot if we could get there as soon as possible. Before the end of the year, I think there's plenty of time. It is only September after all. Anyway, Chelsea versus Barrow, and again, it is against a side that we are not too familiar with, but are also needing to take seriously. At least that's what Enzo Maresca said in his press conference today. He did say that, albeit that they are 60-odd positions below us, we still need to take this seriously, especially with the progress that we have shown. And at the same time, was asked whether or not he is surprised or if they are ahead of schedule when it comes to Chelsea and where we want to be at the moment. And whilst he did think or admit that we are, of course, ahead of schedule in terms of the regularity or the regular good performances, and I still think it's a bit early to be saying that, but to be second or I think third now, are we in the Premier League? To be third or at least so far challenging in the Premier League, it's a bit of a surprise to be there at the moment, although we can't count our eggs or count our chickens before they hatch, you know the saying. But at the same time, with that being the case, we can't come into this game, Billy Big Bollocks, for lack of a better term, and just think that we're going to absolutely annihilate this Barrow side. We should. We should, but we did lose to Servette a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, this comes as a huge game for players that would otherwise not be featured in the starting 11, let alone in the team, let alone the starting 11. The likes of Ben Chilwell might get a game. I don't think he's going to start. We will get into the starting 11. I've got the graphics for it and everything, so we'll get into that in just a few seconds. Mark Guiu as well, maybe a player that we might see play at some point. He hasn't been in the start. He hasn't been in the lineup at all for the last game. But of course, MUDRYK, Renato Vega might get a start. We might see Kieran Dewsbury-Hall. In fact, we definitely will see Kieran Dewsbury-Hall, as he was all but confirmed by Enzo Maresca to be in the starting 11 when he had his press conference. With that said, let's get into the nitty-gritty, and that is, of course, let me turn this off for you. That is, of course, the starting 11. Of course, because we haven't played Barrow and, it's not exactly a game that many of us are excited for. I'm quite intrigued to see how it goes personally, but it's not really something that comes with many stats or facts or things that you can come into this. Sure, you can say that Chelsea have won X amount of League Cups, more than, Barrow have made it past round 3 of the League Cup, or something like that. You know what I'm trying to say? But I thought with this, we would actually do a visual representation of what we think the predicted 11 is going to be. Much like the player ratings, of which that series is back, we have the graphics available. Of course, I actually think, and I don't think that's going to come as too much of a surprise, that Jorgensen will start in goal tomorrow, or today, whenever you're watching this. If Sanchez starts, I think it is absolutely ridiculous. I don't think that there's no need. There's no need for Sanchez to be starting. We know he's doing well. We know he's progressing. We know that he's got the clean sheets. Now it's Jorgensen's turn to kind of hit the ball back, and kind of return that shot so to speak, I don't know, some sort of tennis analogy I'm going for here, but Sanchez has fucking gone for the ace and Jorgensen needs to go, I can have some of that to sort of beat him away in the pursuit for first team goalkeeper positions. I'm rambling. Anyway, we're going to have a couple of players all over the place here because, first of all, Malo Gusto is back. However, he is unlikely, I would say. It's not been confirmed, but it is unlikely that I think that he would start. Do you know what I'm saying? We also have seen Tosin play in the game against... who did we just play? West Ham. And a very good performance as well. A very, very solid performance from him. So I would imagine 2 games on the bounce, Tosin, a player that isn't necessarily going to get regular time in the Premier League, at least at the moment, with the likes of Colwill, Fofana leading the line. I don't think Tosin will see too much in the way of starts in the Premier League. So in games like this, regardless of the game against West Ham, I think he was always destined to start in this game against Barrow here in the Carabao Cup. Alongside him, I am going to go with a man that's really causing some sort of divide at the moment, including with myself, as to what's going on with Badiashile. Of course, nowhere near good enough to be in a starting 11 squad in the Premier League. But again, Carabao Cup against a team 60-odd places below us in the English divisions. Give him a chance, you know? If we're giving MUDRYK a chance, we've got to give Badiashile another go as well. On the right-back position, I am going to go with, and this is where it gets a little hairy, we do have Malo Gusto sort of booting about here. You know, we know he can do all of this. He can do all of this. He can fucking, you know, swap over. It doesn't matter because, again, fitness plays a massive part. And so for that, I do think Disasi starts over him. I think it's unfortunate because no one really likes to see Disasi play at right back, but he needs to gain some confidence somewhere. And I think that a game like this could also help aid the likes of a Disasi, who's been really struggling for confidence and quality. Let's be honest, that's the more important thing here, in a game against Barrow. Moving away from that side and ultimately moving away from Malo Gusto, we have the left-hand side, which I actually had empty. It leaves the midfield a little bit dicey later on, and you'll see why in just a second, but I'm going to go with Renato Vega. We've seen him play at left back. A lot of people like to see him, you know, sort of just around here. I also like to see him at left back. I think he's more than capable. I think he's shown that he is good there. I think his best game has been at left back, if I'm not mistaken. But we'll see. We'll see, and you'll see what I'm saying. I don't see. We'll get into it, shall we? Centre mid, Dewsbury Hall, all but confirmed to be starting, and so that's one out of the way. The other player, I'm not so sure who the hell it could be because it's not going to be Enzo. It's not going to be Caicedo because I mean it might be, but are we really going to risk them in a game like this? I don't think it's necessarily a must. So for that reason, I could see a bit of this. I could see a bit of that. You know, Disasi at left back, it's not really something that I would like to see. I haven't got the graphic for Ben Chilwell, but again, I can't stress enough. I don't think we're going to see Chilwell starting in any games. I just don't see it happening. So the way I see it being is this. We might even see a bit of this, actually. It's a little bit more unlikely as well. But then moving into attack, I have got MUDRYK on the left. I have got Joao Felix sort of here. But then you could sort of go like that. I've got Neto on the right. And I have got Nkunku starting. So that kind of leaves one player, does it not? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're missing a player. I don't know. It's really down to this midfield. And again, I think we're not really looking to steer away too much from what we're trying to do on a regular basis. I think purely because of a lack of players available. For me, personally, I would bung Chilwell on the left, but he hasn't played now for quite some time, so it's going to be a bit dicey, all things considered, to start him. He is our only out-and-out left-back available. Obviously, you could. I don't even know why I'm not even giving this the chance. We could see this. We could see this. In fact, I think this is going to be my finished 11. Cucurella has to start. I just can't see. I can't see him starting Chilwell in a Chelsea game anytime soon, if ever again. But we got there in the end. Jorgensen in goal, Disasi on the right, Tosin, Badiashile, and Cucurella on the left. Dewsbury Hall and Vega in midfield with Joao Felix, the attacking midfielder. Neto and MUDRYK on the wings, and Nkunku up top. Jackson, MUDRYK getting a rest, and of course Sancho getting a rest as well, considering he has been thrown into the mix. With that said, again, please do like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. But that is it for that. Predictions wise, that did just pop up on the screen. I didn't edit that in. It just popped up. With that said, predictions wise, I think we would be silly not to predict a fairly conclusive victory, a fairly definitive victory. I'm gonna go with 3-0. 3-0. I usually predict us conceding goals, but in this instance, I really am sort of leaning towards the regularity, the consistency of getting clean sheets in as many games as possible. With Brighton on the weekends, you know, and then we've got games galore. We've got games galore coming up against the likes of Liverpool. We've got Ghent. We've got Nottingham Forest. Then we've got Liverpool, Panathinaikos, Newcastle, and then I think a load of other games against like Tottenham and United and fucking everyone else under the sun. But with that said, let me know your predictions down in the comments. Again, please like the video, subscribe, hit the bell notifications to be notified of any future content on the channel. I will be live an hour and a half before kickoff tomorrow or today. So I look forward to seeing you either here on TikTok or on Twitch. But again, my name is Harry. Out, cheers and peace.